Welcome to my new blog post 11. And in this blog post, I'm going to discuss about dimensions, like what actually the dimension table is. There will be two parts. One would be the theory, and second would be the like more practical format, like how we can actually visualize the dimension tables in the Power BI. So let's start. So let's start with the basic theory, like what actually is the dimension table. So when we talk about the dimension table, it means like it's a table that actually contains the descriptive information for which can be utilized to slice and dice the data uh, on from the fact table, or the effect table. So basically, uh, there are two keywords over here, like slides and dice. These are the keywords, and these are the actions that are required to be performed on the data. And what kind of a data? Like it's gonna be like our fact table data. So later on in the next block, I will give you an insight about the fact table, but let us keep ourselves towards the dimension table. So since I have said it is kind of like there is a descriptive information in the dimension table, and in the following image, I am showcasing a dimension of the product table. So basically, this table contains descriptive information and which we will use for slicing and dicing in future. So these fields can be of any data type. Like these fields can actually contain data type uh, of like text, date, time, and even a number, and or even a number, right? So here is the product and product table, and here is a product column. So it contains a descriptive information over here. Then there is a standard cost, like it's contain a dollar information. Then there is a color, and then there is a list price column coming up here, which is again money or uh, dollar information. Then there is a model, and it's a descriptive information and textual information. Then there are further like subcategories, category, and SKUs. So there is a lot of information over here, but most of it is actually of type text, but we can have integers as well in this table. But the main key to understand the dimension table is like you should know this, like it contains a descriptive information, there should be a non-aggregated information should be placed over here with respect to the dimension we are talking about, or the dimension which is actually under consideration. So for example, if I would say like I would like to see the product uh, sales amount, so I can't actually put that kind of information over here. For that I need fact table, right? So let's move on. So before moving on further, I would like to give you a very key concept about uh, surrogate keys, like what are actually surrogate keys. So basically, when we talk about surrogate keys, we talk about like uh, a primary key as well. So this is surrogate is something. It is something which actually comes up when you have a primary key, but it is actually not a primary key. So let's see like how it could be possible. Like if there's a key, but you actually think that it's not going to be a primary key. So let's suppose like we have a credit card table, and we have three columns like credit card number, holder name, and the expiry date. So the credit card number is basically a unique number for its holder name, right? So it could be a very good primary key, but we know that it is quite possible, like due to the expiry date, the one holder may have multiple credit card numbers coming in. So here the duplication is actually coming. So we need to break that kind of information. For this, we need to create a surrogate key, and that surrogate key will actually act like a primary key in the dimension table. So the answer would be like I will create a automated uh, primary key over here. Normally it is number, or you can actually add something else as well, and assign that surrogate key as a primary key, and this will actually work as your primary key in your data model of the Power BI. And this is how you can actually handle the surrogate keys, uh, primary keys in the dimension tables. So further moving on, there are two concepts that are actually required to be understood with respect to the dimension tables. First one is like dimension tables are basically wide. So this is like a golden rule to remember. Like while you are designing the dimension tables, you should make them wide. Like you can actually extend the columns as much as you want. Like you need to add the fields that are actually related to your table. More fields in the dimension table means like more power for slicing and dicing the data. And if you have like just like three fields of a customer, first name, last name, and gender, or like here it is like customer, city, state, province, something like that. Like so it means you can actually slice and dice data by these three. However, if you have like customer table with more columns, like I have shown, you have more power in slicing and dicing. Let us assume that you have a table like in which you have only first three columns. So consider like city, state, province, country, region, and postal code is not present at the moment. So when you will actually try to slice and dice the data with respect to the customer, you, you can actually slice and dice it with respect to the customer only, not with respect to the other values like city, state, province, country, region, or the postal code. So you can't just do that. But if I introduce it like with respect to time, like after the customer, I introduce a column like city, and after the city, I add state, province, and then I add country, region. I have more power for slicing and dicing, so I can go on further, move further and further, and I will have more granular level to achieve. Another thing is like dimension tables should be shallow. So why they are required to be shallow? They should not have many rows. They are actually often less than a million row. However, there are always some kind of exceptions. So for example, if you talk about like Instagram or Twitter, so they will have like more than a million customer or billion customer in their table, but it's a exception. So basically, if you have few values in the dimension tables with respect to your huge database, so that would be a great good. Like you can have a faster uh, visuals to play with. All right. So this is something about the dimension table, which is actually I have talked about some key theory about it. Now let's move on towards some practical. So I have downloaded Adventure Works Data Warehouse 2020 from the Microsoft website, and this is pre-built data source for the Adventure Works. So I can actually I have basically a main sales table, which is actually a fact table. And then there are dimension tables. And this is actually built on the star schema. So we have multiple tables like sales order, product, reseller, date, customer, and sales territory. And these are basically dimension tables. And in right in the middle is basically our fact table. So let's move on towards like our data as well. So uh, let me open the customer table. So I have lots of information over here, right? So I have various cities, I have customers, I have states, regions, and there's a lot of data that is actually coming up right now. So let's move on towards another dimension, for example, date. When I click on the date, I have like date key, date, fiscal year, fiscal quarter, month key. full data. So I can actually slice and dice the data of the fact table, which is sales, with respect to these uh, descriptive columns. Like if I would like to see on the date of uh, 7/1/2019, how many customers were there for some kind of average sale. So I actually utilize this information to get the data from the fact table. So there are 5 dimensions, and there are around about like 30 columns and one fact table. So I can actually see 30 different 30 factorial kind of like information in my visuals. So I can actually build lots of visuals by just utilizing this data. But right now, let us see how we can actually see the dimensions while we are actually utilizing the reports. So let's suppose I just only want to create a stack bar chart. So I have just clicked on it and it is dragged over here. I just expand it over here so I can actually get a good glimpse of my visual. Now let's see, like I would like to see city-wise, like I would like to see the city in the dimension, but right now here, there's something which is not coming. So I need to have some kind of information from our fact table as well. So I just clicked on the sales, and and let's see, like we have, okay, one, okay. So there was a bit of problem in my visual data. So all the fields were actually hidden. So I just had to hide them all. So it took me some time, bit of time. So let's see, like I would like to see the city-wise data, right? And I would like to see the order quantity that is actually meant. So you can see the columns that I have selected the city column. So right now I am slicing and dicing the order quantity with respect to the cities, right? So I can also add, like, what if I would like to see the sales amount? So I just only need to click on the sales, and now I can see the sales by city amount, right? So how about like if I would like to see the city and the customers as well? So right now I'm actually getting the data with respect to the uh, city and customer. So right now I am having sales here in the y-axis, and then I have cities over here. And since the data is quite huge, uh, there is a little bit of information about like there will be dots about the customers here in this visual. Right now they are not present. So through this you can actually play around with the dimension table, and you can actually get as much as amount of visual that you would like to have. So hopefully you have understood the concept and about the dimension tables.